Are you looking for a carry-on bag that can accommodate a suit or other formal wear as well as all of your other luggage? Well, in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Moderne Gentleman Travel Duffle and what it has to offer. Hey everyone, this is Kyle from flat.When, your financial resource for a changing world. For travel review videos, personal finance tips, and more, please be sure to subscribe, and thanks for hitting that like button. Also, before we get started, I do want to mention that this bag was provided to me by Moderne Gentleman for review, but the opinions are completely my own. The Moderne Gentleman Travel Duffle bag was introduced to me after I reviewed a different garment duffel bag, which we'll talk a bit about later. Having been a fan of that bag, I was curious to see how this one compared. So what are the bag's pros and cons, and how does it compare to other options? Let's take a closer look. First, let me go ahead and show you how the bag works and how you put it together. After arriving in a surprisingly small box, you can unwrap the travel duffel and lay it flat. When you do so, you'll notice that there's a zipper in the middle, which is the garment section that you can use for a suit, dress, or other formal wear. Once you lay your item flat, you'll notice that there's a place to put the hook of your hanger. From there, you can go ahead and zip it up. And while we're talking about this feature, you might be wondering what the flap on the top is, and it turns out that this is actually a tie bag. From there, the bag essentially zips up in 3 different sections, starting with the 2 different sides. One thing you'll notice about the sides is that they don't zip up all the way. Instead, one of the zippers has a clip that you can use to connect it to the other one. Then you'll repeat the process for the other side, and finally use the zipper in the middle to complete the top. One thing I do want to note that I found a bit weird, because the zippers on the side don't fully zip up and don't connect with the top, there is a bit of a gap on either side. Granted, because the hook keeps the zippers in place, this opening is fairly small. Still, it does exist, and I could see it being a turnoff for some. Now that your bag is assembled, let's talk about some of the other features. Something I didn't really expect from this bag was the number of pockets as well as other section storage. Starting on the interior of the bag, there are a few different zippered and unzippered pockets of varying sizes. There's also a large pouch on one side which might be useful for 311 liquids. On the exterior, one side unzips to reveal additional storage, including a spot that seems like it would be perfect for pens. I also think this might be a good option for headphones. There's also a zippered pouch on the trolley sleeve, and another one on the front of the bag, although I don't have any specific ideas for use of either one of these, except for perhaps a passport or something of the sort. In any case, it's nice to have these options, especially if you plan to use this as your main bag in addition to a smaller personal item. In terms of what else the travel duffel can hold, I did an experiment by adding a week's worth of clothing to it. Like I did with the last bag that I reviewed, I packed the bag with a full suit, along with everything else I'd need for a week away, including daily changes for shirts, underwear, and socks, a few additional pairs of pants, a hoodie, an extra pair of shoes, and a toiletries bag. To be honest, I was actually surprised with how well everything fit, even without the use of the packing cubes that I normally employ. Therefore, if you're traveling for a week or less, then I think you'll be able to fit everything just fine. And while we're talking storage, I should also mention the shoe cubby. On one side of the bag, you'll find a shoe compartment which is perfect for an extra pair. Of course, while this is great for separating your potentially dirty shoes from the rest of your clothes, you will need to be mindful of space before adding your shoes, since they will push into the main compartment. This wasn't too much of an issue for me, although I did experience a bit of resistance as I tried to push them in for the first time. Nevertheless, I think that this feature works well as long as you plan ahead. Before we get to the final section, we should also talk about pricing for the bag. On Moderne Gentleman's site, it lists the retail price at $160. However, at this time it's on sale for $120, which seems to be the price more often than not. For comparison, the Halfday bag is $98, and coupon codes can be found on top of that. Also, while editing this video, I did stumble across a bag on Amazon that looks fairly similar to the Moderne Gentleman one and is a fraction of the price. Speaking of coupon codes, if you do want to purchase the Moderne Gentleman bag, you can use the promo code flat.When at checkout and save 10%. That would bring the cost of the bag down to $108, although you will need to pay shipping on top of that. Finally, let's talk about how the Moderne Gentleman bag compares to the Halfday one. Although the Moderne Gentleman and the Halfday bags seem to have a very similar conceit, I was taken aback by just how different they are in a few ways. The first is in the design itself. While the Halfday is essentially one large piece that zips all the way around, as mentioned, the Moderne Gentleman bag zips up in 3 different sections. As it turns out, there are pros and cons to each approach. One of the things I like about the Halfday is that you can unzip it from the middle and essentially display your clothes for easy access once you reach your destination. On the other hand, accessing on the go can be a bit tricky at times because you'll need to make sure that the zippers are in their proper place lest you dump everything onto the floor. In contrast, the Moderne Gentleman bag offers easy and quick access via the top zipper. But you'll probably have to use the bag from top down once you get to your destination unless you want to unzip one of the sides. Speaking of the sides, as I mentioned, there is that weird quirk where there is the bit of holes on either side. Another difference is in some of the materials used. Something I mentioned in my Halfday review was that I was a little bit disappointed with the use of plastic for the straps. Well, that's something that Modern Gentleman corrects by using metal on the strap clips. Also, while the Modern Gentleman bag has plenty of additional storage and pockets, the Halfday bag just has the 2 internal shoe pouches, as well as 1 small zippered pocket on the side. Finally, it is worth noting that the 2 bags are different sizes. As you can see, the Modern Gentleman bag is smaller than the Halfday. While I personally find this to be a win for the Modern Gentleman bag, Halfday can accommodate a larger suit, so that might be a key consideration for some. Since I said in my Halfday review that I probably wouldn't use the bag for air travel because of its size, I personally appreciate the smaller size of the Modern Gentleman. But for road trips, it might be more of a toss-up between the 2 bags, as I happen to enjoy them both. Overall, there's a lot that I like about the Modern Gentleman Travel Duffle, including the size. At the same time, there are a few quirks to be aware of as well. All in all, I found the Modern Gentleman Travel Duffle to be a clever item, and one that could be truly useful. In particular, I love the carry-on size, although I could personally go even smaller, although at some point you then wouldn't be able to hold everything you need to. I also like how they tossed in a few other features, such as the aforementioned pockets and the shoe cubby. As for the quirks, I've already gone over most of them, but I do also want to mention that there's an NFC tag on the front, but that's a story for another time. Obviously, time will tell how the Modern Gentleman bag holds up after future trips, but for now, I'm pretty happy with the possibilities. Hopefully this gives you a better idea about what the Modern Gentleman Travel Duffle is all about, but for more on the bag, I'll have a link to my full written review in the description box down below. Also, if you've tried either this bag or the Halfday bag and have an opinion on it, I'd love to know what it is in the comments. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time here on Fayeni.